everyone, and welcome to Empower Your Designs, Harness AI for Seamless Civil 3D Projects with Corridor EZ. My name is Juliana, and I work in marketing here at MicroCAD. And we have today with us Alex and Ryan. In today's session, you'll see how we navigate through real-life world scenarios, share best practices, and demonstrate how Corridor EZ revolutionizes the process design, enabling you to tackle complex projects easily. And as usual, you can ask a question on the left-hand corner. You can ask Alex or Ryan any questions. This is your time, and we want you to make the most of it. And the upper left-hand corner, you will find links to our social media, website, and YouTube channel. We post all of our webinars there at the end, so you can share with colleagues or watch it on your own time. You also have our webinars events section, so you can go there, check out our upcoming webinars, and register. And even if you cannot make it, we encourage you to register so you can get the on-demand recording. And without further ado, I'll pass it on to Alex. Hi, Alex.
Hello. Welcome, everyone. It's Alex von Swoboda, and I look after sales for civil survey applications, otherwise known as CSA, we'll call it here. And I've been with the company a couple of years now, and before that, I worked at Autodesk in the civil groups there in different roles, and before that, Sofdesk in different countries, Europe and Canada, as well as out of New Hampshire in the US. So what we're going to show you today is something really exciting and tell you about how you can improve your productivity tremendously with using our product. Corridor EZ is what we're talking about, and it's an add-on to Civil 3D, and we're going to run through it quickly today. And our application engineer Ryan Caudell is going to do the heavy lifting today and walk you through the product. But since we got a small group today, we welcome anybody who would like to ask any questions too. We would glad to answer it as we go through. So let me share my screen, and hopefully you guys can see all this in a second. Are we seeing that? Ryan, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. All right. So like I said, Ryan is, we won't go too long of an introduction here, but Ryan's been with us for a long time. He's been very involved in the development of our civil products. So we have two main products here at the company for civil engineering, and Civil Site Design was the parent software company that's been, or software product that's been around for 10 plus years. And given the interest in and troublesome of creating corridors, we pulled out Corridor EZ from the Civil Site Design product. So it's been around for a long time. It's not a new product in any sense. But what we added to it, which is so interesting and so exciting, is we've brought artificial intelligence now to land development design. So that's what Ryan's going to show you today and talk about the productivity that you can get, 10 to 20 times productivity using some of these tools for both artificial intelligence and machine learning. So you hear a lot about those two buzzwords these days. It's very common. And all kinds of other companies are getting into that, but we've been involved in that for quite a while now. So let me take you through a quick overview. Now that we finished the introductions, I'll take the overview of Corridor EZ, and then we'll dive right into the product demonstrations. Then I'll come back and talk about pricing and our call to action that we're going to do here with MicroCAD, and then any Q&A and next steps that we might have. So, all right, so here it is. This product, Corridor EZ, it seamlessly integrates with Civil 3D. So it just adds right on the Civil 3D and uses all the components. So it's 100% compatible with alignments and profiles and cross sections. You just really is a tool that's adding on to it to make all your workflow more productive. So the big thing here is, especially, it's focused on subdivision road network design automation. So the tedious things when you're doing the design and you're intersecting with other roads is cleaning up intersections and getting the road slopes put together, the curb returns, and then things that you have in subdivision design like bus bays, and we're hearing turn lanes is another common thing that all are added into the subdivision design. And so we handle those in addition to all the traditional stuff like cul-de-sacs and knuckles and different things like that. That's all part of this as well. So we're really excited to show you what we call Project Assist. So Project Assist is the artificial intelligence, or as we say, the AI piece that we're adding to Civil 3D that gives it all that power and productivity that you can get, up to 20 times productivity. So what we're hoping is that this could be a real tool to help you, because we hear from a lot of our customers these days that they have a lot of work coming in, which is a good thing, lots of work, but how do they handle it? They can't hire, or they don't have the time to train people now to go and do, use the product. So what do? So if you can get the people you already have that know Civil 3D and just add this to it, increase their productivity by, up to 20 times, then that's a good thing. And that allows you to handle the workload that you have, or bring in new work and not turn down any new work. That'd be horrible. But that's what we're trying to show you here. That's the problem we're trying to solve here with Corridor EZ, is to be able to handle that workload that you have, or new work, bring it in, and still do it with the same resources you have today. The other part of this product, Corridor EZ actually came from, at the beginning in civil site design, from road reconstruction. So that was the roots of where we started this software, doing widenings, and a typical thing in towns, streetscapes when they want to attract more people to their downtown center. So where you see the widenings and parking and medians and all the different landscaping associated with that. So that's where this product really shines and helps Civil 3D do this. So here's the benefits. Okay, reduces the time significantly. We'll talk about that later on, to lay out that subdivision network from hours, or days to just minutes. That's the ROI. And the beautiful thing is you're never leaving Civil 3D. So everything is completely compatible and interchangeable with Civil 3D. All right, that's very important to note. So here's this tool, before I turn it over to Ryan, that really brings that artificial intelligence and machine learning. Machine learning is really the part of the software is learning what you're doing. If you have certain ways of naming things, like strings that represent a bus bay, or strings for a added lane, a right turn lane, or different things for a median or the left turn lane, it's going to learn that, start to understand that is very typical to your design process, and it knows how to interpret that quicker, and you don't have to set up those things over and over and over again. So, subdivision design, is sometimes you think it's simple, but it is complex. There is a lot of variables, especially with cross slopes and as you go through intersections, different things like that. So Project Assist really can help with a lot of that, to build all those curb returns and turning lanes and cul-de-sacs easily with the right slope. So we have a gentleman here that works with us sometimes, Russ Nickloy, Macer Technologies, and he really is his testimony about how, and he's a Civil 3D expert. He does a lot of educational training at Autodesk University. He does courses every year at AU, but he tried this with Civil 3D, and he said he just couldn't believe what he saw and what he found out. So it took him a fraction of the time just to create one option. And that's a good point, just one option, because today you're very competitive with other engineering firms. You want to be able to look at multiple options to deliver the best design options for your client, and hopefully that wins you the work. So this tool will give you that ability to do more of the what ifs. So once you've got that civil and the alignments laid out and you build your templates, we're not using sub-assemblies. We'll create them when you're done, but initially your templates are very simplistic, very easy to build out and apply. But once you have that done with a single mouse click, you can have, like you see on the right here, the software build out all your roads, all your intersections properly. So, and then we also have little tools in here that, hey, says, hey, I'm working on this road. Give me a 0 cut and fill balance to this road, or close to it. Nobody ever gets a 0, but close to it. And the software will go and adjust your vertical profiles accordingly to get to that. So all little tools that are very handy. The big thing is visualization. Of course, you've got your profiles and cross sections that you can put on multiple monitors. By the way, we are 4K compliant, and all of our software will work with that. But we have a tool that comes with Corridor EZ or Civil Site Design called the Model Viewer. And that's not an extra thing that you have to buy. It allows you to do the rendering and visualization to validate your design. So you can see on that third image on the right how very quickly you'll see Ryan check his design by getting a visual representation of that so fast. And that gives you an idea to say, hey, maybe I got to change this. Maybe I got to raise this up or lower this. But that's a great handy tool. So Model Viewer is part of Corridor EZ or Civil Site Design. All right. I think I described that enough. So I'll turn it over now I'll stop sharing, and Ryan, it's yours.
All right, let me get it here. Let's see. All right, just waiting to see if you can see my screen. Okay, yep. Great. All right, thanks, Alex. Yeah, so what I wanted to do was something a little unconventional on the demo, and that is just to go through how many clicks it takes just to generate a best fit, vertical grading on the roadway. So once we do that, we'll delete that data, and then we'll kind of go in a little more detail of how that all came together. So initially, you would start off with your templates. We'll go in more detail about the templates. We've also got alignments. These alignments here that you see on the right side, package when you install it, you'll have access to those civil 3D alignments. And as I kind of hover around, you can see it highlight them in the plan view. But right off the start, if I've got my alignments set up the way that they need to be, I've got a civil 3D surface, and again, just to reemphasize, this is a civil 3D alignment. All I need to do really is just go straight into my alignments. Now I may check my some settings in here, and this is the templates that are being pulled as default to the design. So if I actually just right click in there and go right into Project Assist, this is really my first pick in the process. So in this window, I would just typically fill this out for a report, and down below is a little checkbox that says, output PDF report. It's already counted that there's 16 civil 3D alignments, and there is one civil 3D surface. So I've got 2 checks to confirm that I've got, those items taken care of. And then what surface do I want to sample with? And As you can see, I have existing surface. So all of my profile design will be set as a best fit to this existing surface. So my second pick is going to be hitting the continue button. And this is the AI that we're talking about. So in here, everything in blue, you can see that that really kind of refers to the road center line. Anything sort of in this, natural, sort of a neutral tan color, that is all my road edges. And I didn't have to go and pick them out. The software looked at the naming convention of my alignment and made its best determination on how I plan to use it in the design. So this is the intelligence that we're talking about that's built in with the software. We've also got in green your existing road edges that we're tying into. And those are here down the bottom, tying into this existing road that we've got on the south side of the property. So my third pick is just confirming. So far 3 clicks in. Now, we would go through the workflow. We can then, let's go in alignment by alignment, and then we'll go back through this box in detail after I run this. I'm going to set all my curb returns to be 30-foot radius. So I'm not really doing anything else. I'm already at my 4th click. So my 4th click, I'm just going to compute. And right away, it's going through and it's applying an alignment based on each alignment. It's applying a template to it. If there's alignments on either side, as an example, I've got a widening in this area of the road. It's narrowing down. I've got a bus bay, and I've got a turn lane. It applied the template along the alignment. It targeted the template to match up to these, to the widening, to the bus bay, and to the turn lane. We've got intersections already cut, as you can see. And we've got vertical design. We've got new alignments at the curb returns. Now here's the report that comes in. So this is actually what kind of tells the user what the software did. So as you're kind of going through, if there's anything that kind of stands out to you, like, hey, what is a variation? You can see a couple of areas here. A variation has been set. Right edge of travel way, which is the RETW code. It is based on a turning lane. I can go then and click on the right side here. You got these video button links, and that gets you to your e-learning. So it's showing up here on my other screen. And so now I could actually play a couple minute video. This one's like 1 minute and 15 seconds. Step by step on what a variation is and how it's applied. So this is a really great resource on just learning, how to take advantage of, the software, learning about the software while you're going through the motions. I'm going to go ahead and close that PDF. And again, as we kind of take a deeper look, you can see that we've got a surface created. Actually, there's a couple of different surfaces. And the reason for that is because if we go over to our island here, you'll see that we've got a surface contour that's following the island. There is a surface that was used to drape the island information to it. So that's where you come up with a second surface. And then we got our original surface, which was the roadway design. So you saw in a matter of, I think that was 4 or 5 clicks, you've already got to a point where you could actually start getting into detailed design. And it took care of a lot of the heavy lifting. If we consider, doing all the targeting as heavy lifting here, it knocked all that out for you and got your turn lane in, and again, with the island. So now let's rewind and let's go into some depth with the software, getting back to where we're at. So again, you just saw in a couple of clicks that's not difficult training right there. You've already got something to start with. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this information. I'm just going to remove all of that. I don't need a zip file. And so everything we did is now just going to get reversed. So, you know, what's nice to know about that is if you tried one design idea and you can already tell that, you know what, let me just start back from scratch again. Let me start at the beginning of this process because I'm not really happy with how this is turning out or that's turning out. You know, with a command and, you know, again, 2 clicks to remove the information. I don't need a backup. I'm right back where I started. So now let's look a little bit more into what Corridor EZ is about. So you saw the power. Now we're going to go into some detail and get back to it again with a little bit more knowledge behind it. So when you install Corridor EZ, you get the tool space and you do get a ribbon tab. Again, both of those items install on Civil 3D. I am on Civil 3D 23 right now. And but it is compliant with 24 as well. Or if you have older versions of Civil 3D, it supports that too. Now, in here, on the back to the tool space, from the top to bottom is a workflow that's really laid out. So really you kind of start at the very top. You can start off with settings. So you can get to drawing settings, which also, you know, just give you an idea. You can go in here and you can set your different K values. You can, you know, set some predefined design parameters before you get any design going. The next thing would be templates. So in here, I can hover over different templates. I can see what they look like. If I need to make a change to a template, I can just right click on it, edit template, and I can see the template. So yeah, this is, you know, when we look at a template in our mind, our Civil 3D mind, we say, hey, you know, this is an assembly, and it's kind of like an assembly. I mean, that's the way Civil 3D did their templates. In Civil Site Design, we can easily create templates just by, you know, we've got some cheat commands here. You know, if I came in and so yeah, I'm gonna just create a template, and I'll just call it demo. You know, I can go in and throw some pavement. So, you know, you put in your special code, ETW. This is for intersections. Say if it's going to be a 12-foot road, you know, left and right. And then I want it to be, you know, half foot of concrete. And then maybe I want another half foot of some sort of, you know, base material. So I'll just say, you know, compacted subgrade. When I click OK, I've already got my roads done on both sides. I did forget to add my slope, but I can go ahead and I can add it right here. So as you can see, I can still go in and edit these parameters easily. I'll just give you a sneak peek on the curve, but now you have a really nice interface when it comes to creating your curve information. You know, very intuitive, makes a lot of sense when someone's trying to figure out, well, what is the grade? What is it talking about? Well, you can see it in the picture, you know, where that grade is. So really, really powerful features inside the template editor here. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this. Before I do, one other note here is that you've, again, got an e-learning button right into the templates. And as soon as I click that button, you'll see that I've got access to actually 3 videos here. They'll help you through templates. All right, I'm going to exit that. So now we understand a little bit about templates, and these actually come in. You can have your own library of templates loading up every time that you open up and getting ready to use, you know, Corridor EZ. So the next thing are the alignments. Well, the alignments come right out of Civil 3D alignments. So if I look at my alignments here, Civil 3D alignments on the left, those alignments are getting pulled in over here to the right. The only difference is I can actually hover over them and I can see them in the screen. You know, I don't get that with Civil 3D. So this is definitely a nice enhancement. From here, I can go ahead and zoom out on a road and say, okay, I've got Marin Street. So I can then right click and say, I want to create a road. I can select from that library of templates. It's going to, again, be based on my existing surface. I'm just going to click OK. Now, once that surface, once the road string, we call these road strings. So now if I actually click on road string here, you can see that Marin is a road string. So in this string, once it dropped it in along the alignment and it did a best fit profile, so I can see my profile in here. Now I have the ability to start modifying the profile however I need to. If you wanted to start from scratch, I can go ahead and just say, yeah, let me delete all IPs. PIs referred to here, IPs, PIs. I get to where they're all the same, but so the terminology here, PI, so I've got them deleted. Also, I've got 100-foot exaggeration. This is really a flat landed area here, so if I could do a 4, I can see it's really not as steep as what it was showing in that view. And then I can say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and add a PI. So I can go ahead and select an area where I want to add a PI. It's giving me the station and the elevation. So maybe if I put 330, and maybe my elevation here is at 36, and there is no vertical curve. So basically it's omitted by putting a 0.001. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And so now I've got that drawn in. So I can go ahead and pick one more point, and I'll just accept that. So now we've got a vertical design going on. At the top window, you can see you got your grades. You've got your, right here is your high point at 36. A lot more information in here that we can talk about, at a later time. So that was adding an IP. You can also grip edit. You got a lot of grip edit selections. You do have things such as auto profile, and there's a lot of things you can do with auto profile if you're trying to drape to a surface, or there's just a number of things you can do in here, but you can kind of see some of the options in here. And again, there's that e-learning button. So if you look around, you'll see that e-learning button pretty much in every window. So from this point, what we can do is we can go ahead and open up a volume report. So I'm seeing on that road what my report is right there. We can also look at the material totals. And I can see I've got some totals here as well. You can also see a group of material totals based on all the roads when you're creating them. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And this is where we have that raise and lower to achieve a balance. So if I'm just trying to balance the road right now, I can go ahead and set that to 0. If I had a range that I needed to apply at, trying to balance it out, you can also do it by a range. I'll go ahead and just take that out. So now it made an adjustment. So now if I go back to my volumes and I skim down it, notice how the volumes changed in here. So, I had a lot of, looks like I had a lot of fill, then had a lot of cut, and then I'm down to about, 0.07, cubic yards of material left. So actually that's cubic feet. There are some settings in here. So if you're, you don't want cubic feet, you want cubic yards, I can do, save my settings, and then just kind of close this and reopen that volume window. So now you can see I got cubic yards. So really, really powerful stuff in here. Now that I've got this in, I can also right click and see a cross section. So if you're looking at the plan view though, if I move this plan over to the side, one thing you'll notice is there's a tracker. So let me move this over a little bit. So as I move my cursor in the profile, I can see where I'm at in the plan view with the tracker. But then on my cross section, you see down over in this portion in yellow, I've got a section tracker. So I know I'm going left and right. I can see what's going on in here. And if I decide to go ahead and make a change, let me try to organize my windows a little bit. If I maybe if I do a grip edit change and I grab a point, notice how it's automatically altering the cross section too. So I can see maybe I want some cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop it. And you can see the model down here is changing. And of course, you got your design here. You've got this going on. Now, let's go ahead and create another road and then push out the intersection. So that way you can see how the intersection comes together. So we are looking at Sydney Court. I want to create a road on Sydney Court. Click OK. So again, I can go and design Sydney Court. Now, Sydney Court is now tied to Marin Street. So if I adjust Marin Street, this is where I have a juggling act here. Whenever I have Marin Street, say when I start to move it, notice how it's changing the design in this profile. So you've got an interactive profile linking all of your road information together. I'm going to go ahead and close that window, close this window for now. So to push out the intersection, we call those network strings, curve return. So I could just create a single curve return. So I just clicked in that quadrant there. I want that to be 30. I'm going to go ahead and just create update alignment. So notice it says create an alignment. I don't have an alignment there right now. So it's going to go ahead and create the alignment. And then from that point, I'm going to go ahead and if I can show that profile too here. There's that e-learning button. Go ahead and close it. So here you are. So I can actually see the edge of two roads and how it's stringing that curve return in there. It's basically trying to smooth it by putting a vertical curve in it. But you can completely change the design in here. So you're not married to the two curve returns. I'll go ahead and get through that. So we look at it and then enter to get out of the command. So if I wanted to get all the intersections, I can actually right click and do auto curve return and plug in 30-foot radius, click OK. Now you see how it actually built in the other curve return. So just with a click, you know, Civil 3D, I mean, this takes a couple of minutes to do, you know, do an intersection. And with a click of a button, I didn't have to go through designing a profile and the alignment and going through all that extra stuff in advance. You know, Corridor EZ really built all that for me and tied everything together, which is pretty nice. And then now let's look at this with the model viewer. So I'm opening up the model viewer. I can pick what surface I want to see, which is total model's good. Natural ground, say if I want to pick up the image from the surface, from the drawing, go ahead and click on that, click OK. And so now we're able to actually have a nice viewer is labeling the alignments. I can zoom in and, you know, unlike Civil 3D, I can actually jump right back into my drawing file here. So I can see them side by side. I don't have to close this window out and get back into here to see what's going on in plan. I can see them side by side. We can change the window up a little bit. You can also vertically exaggerate too. If, right now it's at 1:1. Now I've got a 1:4 vertical exaggeration. So I can see, you know, what's going on here with this road. If I wanted to avoid having so much fill in the road, I can actually right click even in this viewer and go right into vertical grading. And I can see that, oh yeah, I've got a really, you know, I've got a big high point in here. Let me kind of stretch this a little bit more. All right, let's do a, where are you at? There we go, zoom out. Okay, so I want to just modify this point and bring it down. So I can actually click on it, bring it down a little bit. And now you see how I just made that change even in the model viewer. So we got the model viewer updated, the plan's updated, the profile is updated here. All is going pretty well in my design. I can also click on the contour from Corridor EZ, and you can see that we can turn on the triangles. So I can actually see how much detail the 10 is giving me. Go back over here, I can turn that off. I can also pick on it and say, well, let me do a water drop and see what, if I was to drop water, where's that water flowing? So, this is like a dynamic water drop. Anywhere that you place it is just telling you right there, you got your low point right there. So really, really nice features just with that. So now it's time to kind of go back a little bit, and let's go back through Project Assist one more time, but we'll make a couple little tweaks, and we'll also have the cul-de-sacs added, and then we'll get everything converted over to Civil 3D. Because at the end, the deliverable is a Civil 3D file, so we want to be able to get this data back over into Civil 3D so that we can actually, use it like we normally would in our project. So I'm going to go ahead and close this window out for the meantime. Again, I'm going to go ahead and type the special command here to basically clear the data. Yes, I want to clear it. No, I don't need a backup. But you see how it allows you to even save a backup of your information if you wanted to. So now let's run through it one more time. We're back running through Project Assist. So that's going to be under Alignments, Project Assist. So again, it's kind of slow motion here. We've talked a little bit about how the alignments are being read into what type of alignment. If I click on an alignment and I need to change what kind of type of design I want to use, I can click that little drop down. So you can see all the options that's available to you. When you're doing your design and you've got an alignment, you have all these different behaviors that you can do to treat the alignment in your design process. I'm going to go ahead and confirm. So the very first road in here is Allen Road. And if you notice, it's highlighting right here, Allen Road. Bring this down to the bottom. I've got a cul-de-sac right here at the end of the alignment. So I can go ahead and tick box, add cul-de-sac at, and you see that we have end, start, and you can do both ends. So that looks good. If I kind of pan over to another area, this is Sydney Court. I can see I've got also another scenario there with a cul-de-sac. So we'll get to that one here in a second. The next road is DeLon Boulevard. So notice DeLon has, I would say, somewhat paralleling type of alignments. We've got our widenings, we've got the bus bay, and then we've got our turn lane. You see the turn lane just kind of terminates right there at the center of that one. So when I'm looking at DeLon Street, the very first piece here is going to be, what I want to do to the center line of the road. So that's my template. Again, I've got access to changing the template out to a different one if I needed to. You can even ignore. You'll notice there's an ignore button. You can, or toggle here. You can actually check box ignore, and it'll just skip this altogether. Now I'm getting down to the, this is the bus bay. So in the bus bay, I've got different ways I can control it, but notice here, horizontal control and maintain road crossfall. So what that's saying is I'm going to use your road template, and I'm going to stretch the edge of travel way to meet up to the edge of this bus bay, which that's the way I want to design it. But if you want to design it in more detail, you also can create a string. Now a string means that it's going to create an alignment geometry on the bus bay, or it's actually going to use the alignment you've got there, and it's going to convert it over so you have vertical profile that you can edit independently from just stretching, -2% from your road template. So if you actually need to do some vertical design in there, you can use this option. Or if you need to do vertical design and add a template, that's pretty much your third option. So you can say, yeah, I want a separate string, but then I want to also apply a special template to it. All right. So I'll go ahead and leave it the default because that is the way I want to design it. As I scroll down, I'm looking for my Sydney Court because that's a boulevard road. So there's Sydney Court right here. It jumped on me. Let me go back. Okay, Sydney Court. So I'm going to add a cul-de-sac at the end of Sydney Court. And then down at the very bottom, so it's got the road edges, and it's going to create a road string. And actually, this is kind of interesting here. I would prefer to if it's going to create a road string, so that the intersections can form. So this might actually be a good option to use here for my existing road, but you can also do a draped profile string, so I can pull the elevations. That's really happening down here. You got those alignments there. You see that's this alignment when I hover over that. And then you've got the island here at the top, and that's going to do a drape string based on this model that it's going to create. So a lot of different things are happening that we don't actually have to make happen, which is really, really nice. The only other thing I want to do is I've got a little intersection here, and I want this to be an all-crowned road intersection. So it's referred to as saddles, and you can actually tick box if you wanted all the rows to be, saddled. But if you want it just in a particular place, I can see I want this quadrant to be all crowned, and I want that to be all crowned. So I've got two quadrants that are going to be crowned. And that's pretty much it. So to kind of walk through it, we did a few extra clicks in here just to fine tune our design. When this is done, the report's going to open up, but also I want to have a plugin, which is opening up my model viewer. So I just added my model viewer as a plugin. And when the model viewer opens, I want it to use the image from the drawing. And just to make sure it's pulling the right image, I'll use this little picker button and click it. So now I know it's pulling that image. We're back to compute. So I'm just going to go ahead and compute it. Now let me zoom in here a little bit so we can kind of see what's going on. I think that's a pretty good view there. It happens so quick, but you can kind of see everything happening. So it's so we got our roads that are popping in everywhere. The next thing would be intersections. There's the intersections all getting cut in. If you look over in this intersection here, you'll notice that where that edge, the travelway line is, it's getting pulled into the center of the road, and that's creating that all crowned road. We're waiting for this other side to pop into the center of the road, but that should happen any moment. And then it's got, yeah, that one's already starting to show up. And then you've got your cul-de-sacs. So the cul-de-sacs are getting built, and everything's in the order that you saw it in that workflow. So from top to bottom, alphabetically from your alignment naming convention, it's just going through the process and building it all out for you. There you go. You can see this cul-de-sac getting formed. I mean, think about how that would be done in Civil 3D. I mean, you got to spend time to go ahead and make an alignment around it. And then when you're trying to build a corridor, you got that's a new baseline, a new region. You got to run a template on it. It's a lot of little extra effort. And Corridor EZ, it just seemed like it was just a tick box, to get the same thing. Again, we've already talked about the report, but you know that you've got these e-learning videos here in the report. Here is the design. So it's really nice because I can see what my road names are here in this view. Right there. We can even do a water drop even in this view. I can right click and add a water drop. and you know, you can see kind of where it's flowing. So I might add another water drop just to kind of check it out. So there it is. I can see that one better. That one's running down to here. So there's can be changes that you can decide to make. Again, you can right click and you can see all the different options that you've got in here. Now, just to give you an idea how easy it is to manipulate a template after it's in place. So say if I need to take out a sidewalk on this side of the road for city court, okay, I can actually go in, right click, and we can do that through the, I mean, we can go ahead and open up the vertical grading editor, kind of squeeze that up a little bit here. There we go. And then I'm going to see kind of right in here, I'm going to right click and that opens it up the cross section editor. And I can see on the right side, I got this sidewalk, and maybe I want to remove the sidewalk from the design. I can right click, and this is where variations come in. I can say, I want to delete a section behind code, and it's going to do the full length of the alignment, but I can also specify my range. On the right side, anything from my right sidewalk inner code. So the sidewalk inner code is actually this point right here. So basically you have a little bit of room for sod, and then you hit that sidewalk inner code. And then you got the sidewalk outer code here. So anything behind the sidewalk inner code I want to omit. So now you can see I've knocked out that sidewalk. The sidewalk has been removed from the plan. The model's already updating the changes there, and now it's reflected in the model viewer, just like that. So I don't need to make a new assembly like you would in Civil 3D and go in and split this region and all that kind of stuff. I can actually just manipulate it on the fly, which is pretty awesome. If I have to bring it back, that's just as easy. That's the code, that's that variation I created. I can go ahead and just close it out, you know, exit out to delete it. And then you can see everything is coming back. The sidewalk came back, the models are coming back. Model viewer is now updated, and there's your sidewalk again. Really, really nice ability there to just sort of edit things on the fly. So now let's talk about getting everything into Civil 3D. So we've gone through the process. Now we need to get everything native to Civil 3D. So at the very bottom of the tool space here, the second one over from Project Assist is creating the Civil 3D surface. So I can pick and choose what surface I want to bring in. Maybe if I want my top surface with the islands, I'll use that one. And then I'll just uncheck the boundary options because, you know, later on we'll probably end up doing, you know, there would be a lot grading and stuff. So the design will end up expanding. I'm going to go ahead and clicking OK. My event viewer popped in. So now I've got a Civil 3D surface. So now from there, I need to look at that in the object viewer. And so this will give you an idea of how detailed that surface looks. It's such a quick time, you know, to get a surface with all this information in it, all your intersections. I mean, it just takes so much more time than what we just did. So we've got your surface. The next thing over is going to be exporting the to a Civil 3D profile. So we're looking at profile views and profiles like you normally would. I'm going to go ahead and click on that option. Here are all of the profiles that it generated in this process. It's also using the styles that I've got, say, in my template. So in my drawing file here, these are the styles that were already defined. It's splitting them up from your design profile to your surface profile. I'm just going to set a location, and I can also set a some gap between the profiles. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and create and update the profiles. So you see how quick that was. That was like a kind of a 1-2 click operation, and you've already got, you know, all of your profiles kind of kicked out for you. You know, I've got different label styles that's set up just to sort of span the labeling out. But aside from that, you know, I've got a lot of my information here that I would normally start working with, you know, in Civil 3D. You can make a change here and push it back into Corridor EZ, you know, so it works both ways. If you make a change with the VGE, you can use this same button to update Civil 3D. But the next button over in the list is updating the civil, you know, the Corridor EZ vertical grading from Civil 3D's profile. So again, you got that button there. And then we're looking at creating the corridor. So let's go ahead and run that exercise real quick. So I got my corridor model, and you don't need to have a corridor. I mean, we call it Corridor EZ, but you really don't necessarily need a corridor. It will bring in a lot of lag and stuff like that. If you are showing cross sections with your roadway design, yeah, maybe you do want to have your corridor in there, but it's not a requirement with the software or anything like that. This is just really like the icing on the cake. So I'm going to go ahead and create corridor. We can give the corridor a name. You can choose what you want to build the corridor from. I'm just going to go to a design model. And then you've got the conversion settings. So this is really kind of all the magic happens in this window here. Each code that's being used in the Corridor EZ template, like ETW, you've got invert, top of curve, back of curve. You'll notice that it's pulling already an assembly. And the assemblies that it's pulling from is the one that were provided by Autodesk, or you know, that you would find in your tool space. But you can also bring in packet files. So if you have a custom assembly, or I should say subassembly, you can also import that packet file in here as the option to use. So we've got all of that already kind of preset. This is, you don't have to make this. This comes out of the box. Everything else looks good. I'm just going to go ahead and click on Create Corridor. And as we know, to do a corridor, there's a couple of things that you need to have up front. One is that you need to have, looks like I might still be, let's see. It's doing some thinking. Okay, there we go. So it's saying select the assembly locations. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of zoom out, kind of zoom in on this a little bit so you can see what happens here. I'll go ahead and just drop a point where the assemblies are going to drop. Now the assemblies it's creating, it takes the template that we've used, it applies the sub-assemblies and constructs the assemblies, but the assemblies that it makes is for each region that you're building out. So so just keep that in mind, that there's a library of assemblies that's is gonna drop in, but because it's really region-based assemblies. So if you find a certain region that you need to tweak, you can actually edit that that assembly or sub-assembly to make that tweak in one area without affecting the entire model. Now, what we're looking at here, you see a lot of stuff's going on in the background. It's going to take all the frequency, all the sampling that was done in Corridor EZ, and it's going to apply them as your frequency lines. There's going to be some additional alignments that come in for like offset alignments. That's really for your targeting. So you see here, there's an alignment right there that runs along the edge, and that's to help the software do the targeting. If we kind of look around, you got this all crowned intersection here like we want it. You got your cul-de-sac here. You can still make edits. I mean, you're back in Civil 3D at this point. So if you do see something that kind of catches your eye and it's like, well, that didn't quite, you know, you can always go in and just tweak anything that you see that's a little bit off here. There we go. I'm going to kind of click that point. And, but that easy, I was able just to correct that. But it does a pretty good job everywhere else. You're looking around and, you know, it's really looking good for that corridor model. If I right click and go to corridor properties and we go into the parameters, it's constructed just like you would construct it manually. It's going to take your road, it's going to apply, you know, a horizontal baseline. You got your vertical design right there. And, you know, and then anything that's related to targeting. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that window. And if we just, I think at this point, I'm just going to kind of pass it back off to Alex, and we'll just open everything up for any questions.
Okay, well done, Ryan. So I believe Anna is on. You can always type a question. If you have a question, you can type it in.
Thank you both so much for this presentation. And thank you everyone who attended. And yeah, as Alex mentioned, you can ask a question on the left-hand corner. And these are our contact numbers, information in case you have a question and you just rather to write us there, formulate better, or if you have any questions about a quote or pricing, we will be more than happy to answer that. And I will also like to show you our upcoming webinars. We have Family Matters, Revit Customization and Parameterization Desmodified on March 14 at 1 p.m. as well. Then we have a special, I guess it is a webinar, but it's more also like a communicate that Autodesk has a new way to buy. So we will be explaining everyone what you have to do and how it will further be working. And we have on March 27, one product, many tools, design harmony with Autodesk PDM collection. This is a special manufacturing event, also at 1 p.m. So yeah, I don't know if there are any more questions that you have.
I have. I just want to finish. We always have to have a call to action with every webinar, right, Juliana?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I will go to switch my screen here, and hopefully I can get it to the right one here. Let's see if I can get my screen. Let me know when you can see something. I will. Oh, what happened there? I don't know if you can see anything here. I'm going to try to share right now. And there we go. Share. Ryan, can you see anything yet?
Yeah, we can see it.
Good, good. So just to finish it off and with our call to action here, Ryan showed you a lot of great stuff today. But here's some of the real metrics that if you wanted to take a look at it, we publish this on our website where in this particular example that actually Ryan did 7 roads, 10 intersections, 2 cul-de-sacs, 3 widenings, 1 turning lane. He was able to do this in 30 minutes, and it was along with he able to do a balanced cut and fill. So this is some of the typical things when we're doing a typical subdivision here, what you can get. So this is exciting. This is what people really want to get when they do this, because subdivisions tend to be tedious, time consuming, and especially if there's last minute changes. So here's our call to action. We have, first of all, the price for Corridor EZ is $795 for a 1 year single subscription, one user license, which gets you a second home use license. And of course, all the maintenance and software for that year, and access to our e-learning portal that you'll see here on the right, where you can access all these training videos that we have. So getting started, Toolspace, all these different things that are part of the Corridor EZ library on YouTube. All right, all part of your license that you get. And then our call to action is that if you order anything before the end of the month, we will give you admission to a what we call a getting started training session. So for every license of Corridor EZ you would get a seat to sit in with Ryan, and he'll go through with you one-on-one, or go through with the team, I should say, in this 2-hour session. And but live with him, and then we'll record it and we can give it to you thereafter. So that's the idea, is to get you going in the right direction, and Ryan will be part of that. So that's it. That's all I have. Any questions you see?
Yeah,
Juliana, any other questions?
No, we don't have any questions at the moment. So I think, if you want to contact us, let me just show that really quick again. These are our contact numbers in case anybody wants to reach out. I can put you in contact with Alex or Ryan if you want to. We encourage you to be checking the MicroCAD website for future webinars. And I think this concludes our webinar today. If there are no questions, and I don't know if you have any more to share with us, Alex or Ryan, before we say goodbye.
All right. Thanks, Juliana.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.